West Ham are in serious trouble. We all know it. The whole fan base knows it. The management knows it. The players definitely know it. And the ownership knows it. What's going on? What's going on at West Ham that is so bad for us West Ham fans, but many fans from other clubs can't seem to see? And they only tend to see it when it starts to happen at their club. And then they're screaming blue murder like we are, and then wondering what the hell's going on. Just like a load of Reading fans were doing for their own club. Just like Huddersfield are doing for their own club right now. They actually boycotted, or half the fan base boycotted their game the other night. So what is it about us West Ham fans that we are so upset about? And that other fans keep on saying, oh, be careful what you wish for. You Talk Sport keep on going on about it. Oh, they've never had it so good. They never had it so good. Reap what you sow. All that kind of stuff. All that Jim White, Simon Jordan bollocks that they keep on spouting out. And every now and again, they'll say, oh yeah, we might have a point. It has been a bit of a shit show at West Ham. So let's just boil it down exactly what we want to see as a fan base and what we call the West Ham way. The West Ham way is, and it's very similar to many other clubs in that we want to see attacking, attractive football. We want to be entertained, but we want players on the pitch to absolutely want to give it 100%. Everything that they got for the shirt, everything they got for the club. And even if we get beat, at least we go down fighting. So we want to see tackles going in. We want to see a bit of aggression on the pitch. But fundamentally, we want to go to games and feel that our players, our club, is doing it for us. That's the West Ham way. That's the way of attracting football, trying to play attractive football, trying to do the best that we possibly can and be totally at one with the fan base. And right now, we are not. In fact, it's been like this for quite a few years now. And this is not a Moyes thing. This is actually very much since we moved to the London Stadium. That actually probably started a little bit before then, but in the modern era, since we moved to the London Stadium, this is where the decline happened. Now, there was lots of issues going on before this, before the London Stadium, obviously, and it's all down to the ownership. David Gold, David Sullivan came in with Karen Brady as well. They came in from Birmingham. I spoke to Birmingham fans at the time, and they said they've ruined our club. They've ruined Birmingham City. And look, Birmingham City have just now started to find some form and get back into the Championship. But they were in no man's land for so many years. And that was purely down to David Sullivan and David Gold. They've come to West Ham, and slowly but surely, they've done it to us. Mismanagement of the club. Poor transfers, the way they interact with the fans, the way they put out information, the way they treat managers, treat players, the way that structurally they run the club, the way they've sold our club, the assets of our club, our football stadium at Upton Park. They've moved us into a rented, leased football stadium that it isn't a football stadium. We know it isn't. It's just something that's hashed together, and they pay a little but have no assets. And the only assets we've got now are players. And guess what? They keep on selling the best players that we have, and especially this season to our bitterest rivals, Spurs and Kudus, and they're not replacing with anybody. So you never really know who's calling the shots at West Ham. With under Sullivan now, because after David Gold has died, rest his soul, and Karen Brady and the rest of the board, because everybody gets a shot here, because everybody is to blame. We get investment from Kaczynski and he does absolutely fuck all. So you wonder what the hell is going on behind the scenes. And in the previous video I talked about front of house, back of house. So the back of the house, with the ownership model, the way it's structured at the club, and who's making the decisions, and where the investment goes into the club, has been an absolute shit show for years, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And they're more about what they can draw out from the club rather than what they can put back into the club. It's not about the benefit of the club. It's not about the benefit of the fans. This is all about them. It's got nothing to do with us. And it's been like this for years and years and years. So when other fans and media commentators and, arseholes out there talk about West Ham fans that, we've never had it so good, or, be careful what you wish for, and all this kind of crap. And, they won something, what are they moaning about? Or they got rid of David Moyes, who was, he won them a cup. What are they doing? You have no fucking idea what it's been like for a West Ham fan, and you have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. I always say this time and time again. When you listen to somebody on the radio talking about your club, they know zero about what's going on in the club. But they're willing to give their opinion. Oh, yeah, they're playing this kind of football. They're doing that kind of thing. Oh, the manager's not very good. He's struggling, whatever. Or the fans should be a little bit more respectful. All this kind of stuff. Bollocks. You know absolutely fuck all about this club. And you know fuck all about any other club. Because you're not involved in it. You're just seeing it from the outside. You might watch a couple of games on TV. You might go there as a pundit or something. And you might watch Match of the Day for your highlights. Oh, yeah. Big fucking deal. You know what's going on at the club. You know fuck all what's going on in this club. And that's the problem with all these commentators, and especially fans from other clubs as well. We don't know about what's going on at your club, and what makes you think that you know what's going on at our club? Fuck all. So the problem is, it's down to the ownership. It's down to the ownership that has historically put us in repeated problems with the way we play, the erosion of this West Ham way, the way we want to play football, what we expect from our football fans. It's been the erosion of a fan base that's kind of been diluted, and there's a lot of apathy there. It's the reason why we've gone into a stadium that isn't a football stadium, and it doesn't feel like we've got any kind of connection with it. And one of the biggest reasons is that the ownership has not properly found good managers to support the West Ham way, to perpetuate the West Ham way, because the ownership don't even know what the West Ham way is. They don't even think like West Ham fans. They don't even think like football fans. They're just thinking like business people. Now, on one hand, that's not a bad thing to act like business people, but you've got to think, what business are you in? And the business you're in is in football and football club. So that there's an extra dynamic, a massive dynamic, the most influential dynamic, which is the relationship between the football fans. And if you erode that, which they've done, in fact, they've destroyed that. If you destroy that, then you're basically just going one way. And it's sending West Ham right the way down. So what's happened is, for many years, they've just not supported the managers properly, or they've hired the wrong manager, or they've not driven the manager to play in a certain way. So you're hiring managers that effectively are playing defensive football, boring football, non-entertaining football. Now that's okay if you're winning like Mourinho. But if you're not winning like Mourinho, guess what? It's the most frustrating, crappy thing to watch. And you're paying your hard-earned money to go there to be entertained, to have something that you can latch onto, that you can cheer your team, to urge your team onto, because you know that they'll try their very best. Even if they fail, they'll try their very best just to provide that for you. So we go into a stadium that we all hate, really, because there's no atmosphere there, and you try for a few minutes to cheer them on, but they just don't deliver, and they haven't delivered for so many years since we've been in there. And then we get a period under David Moyes, when COVID hit, that we were playing some attacking football and we got results. And that was without anybody there. No fans there. As soon as the fans came back, then he reverted back to this defensive football after a couple of months of the new season, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. And that from then on, that was the moment where it just started to go downhill in terms of the performances, in terms of the results. Sometimes we get a result. So we had a couple of seasons where we were 6th and 7th. And then we got to a Europa League semi-final, right? Then we got to the Conference League final and won that. Then we got to, I think it was quarterfinals of the Europa League, wasn't it? Or something like that. Because we won the Conference League otherwise. But during that time, our performances on the pitch in the league were terrible. We were struggling for most of the season, and it was so painful to watch. That's why we were hounding out David Moyes, because he wouldn't change. He wouldn't change the way he was playing in the league, and that's the most important thing in the league. The way we were playing, the way we were entertaining each time was terrible. And it just wasn't being addressed by the ownership. And they keep on coming out with this bollocks time and time again. So when other fans, they look at West Ham, they think we're just moaning. When the media, mainstream media, look at us, they think we're just moaning. But we're not. We're not moaning for no reason. We're upset. We're destroyed as a fan base. So then you get divisions within the fan base. Some people have different points of view. Other people thought we should have stuck with Moyes. Other people think, we should never got rid of him. Other people thought, well, give him a chance. And others will say, no, as soon as it went for a substantial period of time that we weren't playing decent football, attractive football, or even attempting to play attractive football, that's when people just thought, no, we can't do this with David Moyes. Forget it. And it continued with Lopetegui, and it's obviously continued with Potter. Even to this day, people are saying, yeah, we should give him a few more games. We should, it's so early in the season. What you're failing to see, what people are failing to see from the outside and also within the fan base as well, that this isn't a new thing. This has been going on for a long time. This isn't a new thing with Graham Potter. It's happened all last season. He took us from a bad situation with Lopetegui, that we were terrible, to an even worse situation. We are terrible as a club. We are terrible as a football team. We've got no pace. We haven't got the players to play any kind of attractive attacking football. And even our best players are struggling. Even the best players that we've got are struggling, or they're inconsistent. So, we lost the first 2 games terribly in the league. We go up to Wolves in the Carabao Cup, and we're playing their second team. And we couldn't even break them down. We couldn't even break them down. They win a penalty in the first half. And they take it. We had a couple of chances. They had a couple of chances. But it wasn't as if it was night and day between the two teams, where it should have been. We're playing their second team. Then they come at us in the second half. We get 2 goals. We're winning 2-1. Then substitutions are made to make us more defensive. And you go, what the hell are you doing? Why should we be... Now, this is not a back-of-house problem now in terms of the ownership. This is now, the here and now. This is game to game. This is Graham Potter. He's making these decisions. And it's these players who are failing to take any ownership of the situation upon themselves. Or they're just so blinkered by the way they've been instructed to play that they can't play any other way. So they come at us again. They put on some of their better players, their first team players, Trent Larson, for example. Guess what? He scores 2 goals. Our defending is terrible. Our midfield is terrible. It's got no legs. But this is nothing new. We as fans, we could have told you this a couple of years ago. We could have told you this. This is where it's going. We've been saying it all last season. We were saying that they need to change us in the summer. Otherwise, we'll be really, really poor. And guess what? We lose the game and everybody's upset. Of course, everybody's upset. The fan base, having a pop at Jarrett Bowen when he goes to say, thanks for coming. He's having a pop back. He apologises afterwards. But then questions are, asked of Jared Bowen, or should he be our captain? Should he be our captain? I never agree with Jared Bowen being a captain. That's nothing against Jared Bowen. I just don't think he's the right character for that. And I've always felt that either a midfielder or a central defender has to be your captain. Somebody who's strong, a strong leader. Somebody who's right in the middle of it, right in the thick of it, who can see everything and he can gather everybody. I don't believe a goalkeeper should be a captain, although there is an argument for it, but I don't agree with it. No, I certainly don't think that a striker should be a captain because they're too far up the pitch. You need somebody in the middle. And when you look in the middle, we don't have strong players. We don't have strong leaders. So what does this come back to? This comes back to repeated years after years of mismanagement of the club, of buying the wrong players, of appointing the wrong managers who play the wrong style of football. And it's not about crappy football, boring football now. It's also about football that is completely failing against any opposition. We are facing possibly the worst time in our recent history in terms of the way we play and the connection with the fan base that is so disillusioned, so upset, so out of sorts that you wonder where it's going to go. We've got Forest away the weekend. Can we see anything but a loss there? Then we got Spurs when we come back from the international break. And we've got Crystal Palace. Can we see anything but a win there? So at what point does the ownership change direction? What point does the ownership look at themselves and say, we've got this completely wrong? Look at what the fan base is saying. Look at what some mainstream media has said. All the focus is on now at the mainstream media because they cannot deny what we've been saying for a long, long time. If we'd drawn a game or narrowly lost a game, but still playing really terrible football, they would still be on this. Oh, what are West Ham fans talking about? They know nothing. Oh, look, they got a draw. They just lost 1-0. It's too early for all that. But it doesn't make a difference. The point is that the performances and the way we play has been terrible. And now, because we've had heavy defeats, now the mainstream media, all of a sudden, they've woken up a little bit and they're asking questions. Whereas before, they would never entertain it. We've made this for ourselves. Or the ownership has made it for ourselves. They've done this to us. And the managers that we've had have failed to deliver time and time again, especially in the league. And I'm ignoring what David Moyes fantastically did in Europe for us for a couple of seasons. 3 seasons we had decent runs. And 1 season we went up all the way to the Conference League and won it. But let's face it, apart from Fiorentina in the final, we didn't really play great opposition. Let's face it, let's be honest now. In Europa League, yeah, we played some decent teams, but only until we got to the quarterfinals, and then Frankfurt in the semi-finals, where they done us over. They were a decent team, but apart from that, Conference League teams usually are not that good, and West Ham were just a little bit better than them, so we won it. Great, Chelsea won it last season. They walked it. So, just because we've won something in Europe, it doesn't make us a force to be reckoned with. It doesn't mean that everything's great at West Ham, because fundamentally it's a broken club, and we got fans that are so disillusioned, and many have walked away. We know that many have walked away. Many of think, what the hell? Why do we have to go and support a club or spend our money to put it in the pockets of the players, of the manager, and also the ownership that just don't even try and deliver anything back to us, don't even try and give it back to us. Now, some players do, and I will come to the defence of Jared Bowen, because I think he's probably one of our players who does. There's possibly another 1 or 2 that you could say, hand on your heart, yeah, okay, they do try. But how is it that we got a team that's played 2 games in the league, and let's just focus on the league right now, and they've hardly put up any fight? They've hardly gone in with any challenges. If you look at the Liverpool versus Newcastle game the other night, Liverpool won 3-2, right? But what were the players doing? They were going in for tackles. They were trying, Gordon gets sent off, right? Now, you could say, okay, what'd you do that for? You've let your side down. You let your club down because you've got sent off. Now you're a man down, right? But fuck me, did he show some aggression? Did he show something? No, bad tackle, not condoning what he did. Of course I'm not. But what I'm saying is he showed the aggression. He showed the desire to get in there. Against Chelsea, if there was no more apparent, I don't think we even tried to put a decent tackle in. They were taking the piss, tappy football between two players. Nobody told them what's what. Nobody went in there for a challenge. What are our players doing? That is not a Graham Potter thing now. That is a player thing. That's individual players and the captain on the pitch not taking it upon themselves just to get stuck in. I'm not saying they're going to start fouling and do crunching tackles, but they've got to put up a fight. They've got to hassle. They've got to close down. And it's become this way now. We are a laughingstock from other fans. We're a laughingstock of other teams because they know exactly how to play against us. They need to just come at us and we will crumble. As soon as they score our first goal, we will crumble. We are all over the place. Keepers all over the place. Now we see that David Sullivan has come out and said, no, I'm going to take over the transfers now. I've had enough. And he's just throwing names in there. And we're still up in the air. Are we signing players or we're not signing players? What kind of players are these? Oh yeah, we're going to sign these players. And guess what? They're going to save West Ham. Absolute bollocks are they going to save West Ham. They're not going to come in and all of a sudden it's changed. It's going to take weeks for any kind of real effect with any players that we get. And you pin your hopes on any players that they can get at the 11th hour, this is, when they should have done their business right at the start of the season. They should have planned for the start of the season, not all of a sudden, desperation stakes, quick, we've got to find somebody, because that's exactly what he's doing now. I mean, they're always in charge of the transfers. We don't have a director of football. Our structure of the club of identifying players and targeting players and paying for players, doing deals is absolutely the worst. And it just gets worse. Karen Brady, David Sullivan are not fit. Actually, the whole board are not fit for purpose. They haven't been fit for purpose ever since they took over. I was warned of this by a Birmingham fan friend many years ago, and he said, this is terrible for your club. They've ruined us, and they're going to ruin you. And I was just like, I bloody hope not. I bloody hope not. And he was right. He was absolutely right. We are properly fucked. Because no matter what transfers we get in now, no matter what shady deals that they do, all they're interested in is saving face. All they're interested in is trying to appease. And lots of people would say that you can't get them out. You can't get them to leave. You can get them to leave by highlighting and putting pressure on them. And they do not want to be questioned by mainstream media. They're hating this now by mainstream media. They absolutely hate it because the results haven't gone our way and the performances have been terrible. So it's plain as day there's something wrong with West Ham. That's why David Sullivan has come out saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to take over. We're going to make this all good now." Well, I'm sorry, but if you're the owner of the club, then you would be making sure that the structure of your club is absolutely 100. You would make sure that it is tight. That you got everybody in place that knows exactly what they should be doing. And you should be targeting players in your season so that next season you're ready to go. And you should be identifying managers who can bring you the style of football that you want, that your fan base wants. And you should be trying to harmonise the club, the players, the management, and the fans together. And you should be delivering a product that us customers would want, because that's what they regard us as, customers. They don't regard us as fans, they regard us as customers. So if that's the case, you regard us as customers, then what are you selling us? You're selling us a product that nobody wants. And guess what? We've been paying for this shit for so long. Lots of people have been talking about this week, I'm sure, about, if West Ham get relegated, it'll be terrible. Yes, it would be terrible. Lots of other fans, and I've said this for the longest time, I'm not a Premier League fan. I don't support West Ham because we're in the Premier League. Lifelong West Ham fan. I don't support us because we're in the fucking Premier League. I support West Ham because it's West Ham. Because that's who I fell in love with as a kid. But there are so many fans within this fan base who go to the games at the London Stadium, who I'm convinced are either not West Ham fans, they're fans of other teams, they're transient fans who just come in and go, and that's fine. You can't go to all the games, you can't go to every game, that's fine. But then you've got so many fans there that are just Premier League West Ham fans. And what I mean by that, and this is not for West Ham thing actually, this is for all clubs. As soon as you drop down division, if you get relegated, a load of those fans won't go. They won't renew season tickets. We'll lose them. If you go down another league, let's say, just like Birmingham did, your fan base will reduce even further. And it will probably level off around about 20,000, because we're a decent club, right? 25,000. Well, that's basically the lower tier of the London Stadium. So they'll shut off the top tier and it'll be lower tier only. It's soulless now. Now, to make a noise in that big stadium is going to be really hard, even for 25, 30,000, ardent West Ham fans. And this is what's going to happen. We'll get relegated to financially be a terrible thing. But in some ways, it might be the thing that saves West Ham Football Club. Because it'll be such a terrible thing for the ownership for that to happen. Financially, it'd be a terrible thing. And the PR would take a major hit. So it could be the thing that actually drives them out of the club to force them out. And to sell the club. Or to have an internal buyout. Maybe Kretinsky takes over and feels, hey, now I can really do something with this club. I don't see West Ham being relegated as a bad thing. I honestly don't. Because, you still... I love the Championship. I love League One football, League Two football. If you go and watch those games, you'll see that it's good, honest football. It's great football. So from a fan's point of view, from that reconnection point of view, because remember, I'm saying I am not a Premier League West Ham fan. I am a West Ham fan through and through. So it doesn't matter to me where we are. I want us to be in the Premier League. I want us to deliver. But if we can't deliver, if we're not good enough, then we shouldn't be here. So if we're in the Championship, then guess what? It would solve a lot of problems. It would cure a lot of problems at the stadium with the fan base. It would cure a lot of problems with, the way we interact with the club, with the players that we've got that really don't really want to run for us, who can't run, who won't run. We got no speed in the club. And, we got managers, probably we get a different manager who wants to play some good, honest football. And we'll have an ownership that thinks, well, maybe it's time to sell. This is the worst time in West Ham history that I can think of in the last 30 years. That it's just got worse and worse and worse. We've got Potter, our manager, who's completely shot away. We've got players that are just not delivering and they don't know how to deliver. They've got no speed, can't defend, can't progress, can't get the ball up front, can't put a ball in the back of the net. We got keepers that are just terrible, and we got an ownership who just undermine players and undermine the manager all the time. And now we're looking to buy the new players and more goalkeepers. It's just a farce, absolute farce. I said in a previous video, look, if you really want to get to grips of what's going on with West Ham, it starts primarily with the ownership. And it's been the erosion of the identity of a club, of a fan base, and certainly the brand of football, and it's been the total mismanagement of a club for years and years and years. That's the root of it. If you want to see change at a club, you've got to put pressure on the club. And you can do that in lots of different ways. Some fans have already done it. They haven't renewed their season ticket, right? Other fans are coming out on social media. Other fans, there could be a protest march being organised very soon. You got the likes of Claret and Booze, who've been harping on about this for months, right? about signing a petition. That petition is starting to gain a little bit of traction now. And I'll keep on putting the link below and in the description of this as well. Just to get these people out of our club. David Sullivan, Karen Brady, and for all I care, the whole fucking board can get out there. Just sign the petition. Now, lots of people say it doesn't do anything. I was always one of those people. This is kind of crap. Marches don't do anything. But it adds fuel to the bad PR. And that's what we've got to focus on. It's the bad PR that forces them either to do a complete change in the way they operate, in the way they interact with us, which is not going to happen, right? Or it forces them to think, you know what, I've had enough of this, or we're just going to go. And that's what we're all hoping for. We're all hoping for. Now, people would say, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, well, of course we've got to be careful what we wish for. Of course, because we have no idea what a new manager is, what a new player will be, what a new owner will be. But you've always got to be hopeful. You've got to aspire to the next thing. You've got to aspire to be better. That's life. You always want to be doing better. You always want to achieve more. And certainly if you're at rock bottom, certainly if things are not going well, you've got to dream to be better, to do better, that things will get better. And this is not aimless hope. This is targeted hope. They've got to have a plan to take us forward. And there is no plan. There is no roadmap to a better time here. Under this management, under this ownership, it just doesn't happen. So signing the petition adds fuel to that PR campaign that's going to put them in a negative light, that's going to make them want to sell the club. And we can only hope that we get bought out by an ownership, by any kind of team that can see what we've been saying for a long time, that will want to engage with the fan base and say, look, we're in a shit state right now. We're going to have to do like this, and get fans on board. And slowly but surely bring us back. Because this repair job on this club is not going to be an overnight thing. I don't care what anybody says, what any other fan base says, what anybody from the media says, and I actually don't care what any other West Ham fan thinks, or West Ham channel fan thinks, or whatever West Ham podcast says, because I don't really watch them, in all fairness, that much. I watch a few, yeah, granted, but I don't watch them religiously. So these are always my own thoughts. But there's no magic pill here that overnight everything's going to happen. We change manager. Oh, yeah, it's going to be brilliant. Well, it might improve, but fundamentally we still got the same problems. Oh, we get a new player in. Oh, no, yeah, it's that's going to solve everything. No, it won't. It won't solve anything at all. Because if there was the way we're still playing, and that viral apathy that goes through a club, goes through a squad is still there, and especially that we've had bad results and bad performances, that drops everybody's heads down, and there's a gloom that descends all over the whole club. And even if we get new ownership, you can't expect, okay, all of a sudden, things are going to change now. Because things take time to change. It's very easy to see a slow erosion of a club. And guess what? It will be a slow rebuild as well. It's not an overnight disaster, and it's not an overnight cure. It'll take a long time. And I'm thinking this could be 10 years. Even if we had ownership change today, this could be a 10-year change, unless we get something like a Saudi ownership or something like that, right? But even then, we're going to be hampered with PSR, right? So again, we're going to be hampered in what we can do over the next few years. They need to think big. These players that they're going to try and get in now to save Graham Potter, to even buy players that maybe the next manager want to put in or want to come to us. They've got to be thinking of what kind of football do we want to play? What kind of football do the fans want to see? What's going to bring us some kind of success? If it's boring, crappy football that we're going to get beat and beat badly all the time with crap, apathetic football, then what's the fucking point? What is the point? Honestly, it's just terrible. So hopefully, listen, I've harped on enough here, but hopefully Other fans will understand this, because if it happens to your club, you will understand. You'll be screaming blue murder that you'll be hoping, or you'll be frustrated why other fans or media people can't understand what you see, because nobody knows your club better than you. That's the point. Nobody knows. I can't comment what's going on in other clubs, but I can see if the football's crap, right? But I can't really see what the cause of it is, because I don't know your club. And when you come screaming to us, oh, we're a terrible club, we're rubbish, I'll say, well, you might be, but I just don't know. I'm not going to be one of those people who says, yeah, be careful what you wish for. Oh, yeah, I'm not, because I don't know your club. I don't know what goes on. So I don't know what gives anybody else the front to think that they know our club or what's going on. And certainly people in the media, who always they're paid to give an opinion, and it's usually a bullshit opinion. They know fuck all about what's going on. In fact, a lot of the time, they don't even know fuck all about the sport they've been involved with for bloody half their lives. It can get you so angry, and it gets so angry about this. Right now, West Ham are in the crosshairs of everybody. And no more so than in the West Ham fan channels, right? I get it. But fundamentally, we know that this is a systemic problem, and it's manifesting itself right on the pitch. And there's no other reason for this. It's been many years of mismanagement of this club, poor ownership, poor management choices, poor player choices that have usually failed. They haven't been great. And we've just got from bad to worse. And when you employ managers that take you backwards, then you've got to be asking yourself, as an owner this is, hold on, we've employed a manager who's actually made us worse. And we haven't done what we should have done. Collectively here, as a business, as a club, whatever you want to call us, we haven't done what we were supposed to do. We haven't stabilised the ship. We haven't actually moved on. We haven't sort of crept forward either. We've basically gone a long way backwards. So if I'm a business owner and I employ somebody who's taking me backwards, I go employ a manager to take care of my shop, to take care of my pub, to take care of my business, whilst I'm doing other stuff, and it's taking us backwards, it's ruining my business. Guess what? I'm going to change something. I'm going to change something bloody quick. And this failure to act, this failure to do something by them is criminal. And it's criminal because they can't even see it themselves. They don't even see it. They don't even know what's going on in our club. And they're the one who's supposed to be in charge of our club. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute farce. And, it's no surprise that we got beat at Wolves. It's no surprise that Chelsea spanked us. It's no surprise we went up to Sullivan on the first day of the season and got beat 3-0. It's no surprises anymore. Because if you've been looking at it like I've been looking at it for years and years and years, it's been coming. It's been there. It's been there the whole time. I used to do some work for other channels as well. And I used to do regular, moaning shows, grumble shows. Because I could always see it. I could always see the problems that we've got in the way we play football, the way we have our management, the way we're going to a new stadium that nobody really thought that it was going to be as bad as it was. But I was always one of those strong believers that we should never have moved. We should just redevelop what we've got. You get introduced to social media, and then you think, oh, maybe I have a voice. And the more people that get onto YouTube channels and talk about this, the more that people get into mainstream media as well and talk about this, the more that they cannot ignore us. That's the whole point. Fan power can be a real force here. And it changes the narrative. It changes the way people think. And the more people that understand this, the better. But because we've been decimated as a club, because also we've been decimated as a bit of a fan base, because so many fans go to London Stadium that are either not West Ham fans or they're just Premier League fans, or they're so disillusioned with the way we play that they either left or they're just they just think, what the hell's going on here? And they're apathetic. They think, ugh. Or they leave after 30 minutes, which I don't blame them now. I don't blame them. I don't, because I'm so pissed off that I want to hold them to account. But I can see why people leave. You've never, fans say you've never had it so good. Or you be careful what you wish for. All I say to that is fuck right off. Fuck right off. You have no fucking idea what's going on in this club. We've been destroyed as a club. And also, all I can say is sign this petition. Get on with Claret and Booze, who've basically led the line on this. Get on with other channels that are doing this as well. I don't expect you to follow me. I don't expect you to even watch this video. But if you do, great. And if you want to keep on watching the stuff that I talk about, because it's sports, general sports in this channel. West Ham, a lot of football in general, boxing. That's what I kind of talk about. But right now, as I say, the target, the crosshairs, the target is on our back. And this is the biggest story in football. Well, for us, of course. I'm sure other teams have their own, of course. I'm not that naive, right? But for us, this is the biggest time. And we've got to have change. If we don't have change, we're definitely going down. I said it right at the very start. I heard somebody the other day said I wasn't impressed with the pre-season. Yeah, I wasn't either. I just thought, well, actually, this is a load of bollocks. Why are we saying we're doing well when we're not doing well at all? That's shit football. You could still see the holes in our game. And as soon as you have live opponents, guess what? They're going to teach us a lesson. And guess what? They have. You got to have change straight away. If we don't get rid of Potter as the first step, then we're just going to we need somebody in there right now that's front of house is going to try and stop the gap, stop something, and give us aggressive football and tell our players to put in a fucking challenge. And we need the ownership to change or be gone. And preferably, because they're never going to change. They haven't changed ever since we've been here. So guess what? Get gone. Sign that petition. Get them out. Get rid of anybody else in this club that doesn't want to be with us 100%. And if that means that we go down, we go down. If that means that half the fan base leave and don't go to the football, well, guess what? So what? At least you'll have half a stadium in there that are true West Ham, that want to support the club as West Ham and not West Ham in the Premier League. That's it. Catch you again. Bye now.